Good morning and good day. Welcome back, friends and family, to Centize Unity Through Hypnosis, episode 10. I cannot believe that we are already here on episode 10. I feel like I had just started this podcast journey and it has been fun this entire way. This week, I want to talk about some parables that I came across that I found very impactful. And what I love about, spirituality as a journey itself has been ever evolving for myself. I was never baptized as a child. I never studied a religion of any kind. I never, if you know me, I've never found comfort in religion. So finding myself in my own journey and listening to my spiritual team, my higher self, my guides, my angels, all of them, and picking up on the breadcrumbs that they leave along the way for me has been the biggest blessing. And recently in meditation, I've been hearing the name Aristotle, and I need to read up on Aristotle. I know very, very little about Aristotle. But what I have learned recently is that one of the biggest figures in my spiritual team is Ganesh. And I don't know a whole lot about Ganesh. I believe he's related to Hinduism, Buddhism. I'm not sure. I need to do some more research on him, but he's the elephant head figure. And I have been coming across on my TikTok and my social media a lot of Buddhist parables. This isn't something that I have actually voluntarily looked into myself, but I do pay attention to what comes into my view, because we all see what we're meant to see in life. And I believe that this is one of the ways that my team delivers messages across to myself. And I came across 6 Buddhist parables that I have written down, and I wanted to share with y'all because they have had such a huge impact in my life in understanding how to let go, how to overcome fear, and how to move forward in my own journey. And I thought that they were so impactful that it would be really good to share them with you. You don't have to be religious to listen. You don't have to do anything, but just listen with an open heart, because these messages are so powerful. And they all are about situations. And you'll see, they're really easy to understand. Now, the first two I want to talk about are about letting go. And the first one is called the sandcastle. So children were building sandcastles by the river or by the ocean. We'll say the ocean. They spent hours making them perfect, making them look absolutely beautiful. When a wave came over and knocked one down, the children instantly became furious. The Buddha gently said, "You suffer because you believe the sandcastle is yours, but all sandcastles eventually return to the sea." Now, the lesson with this is letting go begins with remembering this truth. Nothing we cling to is truly ours to keep. People, relationships, identities, plans, expectations. We build them with care, but they are temporary configurations of shifting conditions. When we understand this, we stop gripping so tightly. We love fully, but without possession. We appreciate, but without attachment. We release because we were never meant to hold forever. Impermanence isn't meant to scare us. It's meant to free us. Amazing, isn't it? It's the little things, right? We hold on to so many little things, so many little triggers. We strive for perfection in everything we do in life because that's what we've been taught to believe, that perfection is the only way to go. You need to be the best at this, you need to be the best at that. No, nobody needs to be perfect. So the next one is called the glass of water. This one's one of my favorites. So a teacher holds up a glass of water and asks, "How heavy is this?" Students start shouting out numbers. He shakes his head and says, "The weight doesn't matter. What matters is how long you hold on to it. If you hold the glass for a minute, no problem. Hold it for an hour. Your arm starts to ache. But hold it all day, and your arm goes numb." The lesson is that this is what we do with our worries, our fears, and our emotional burdens. The longer we hold on to them, the heavier they become. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring what we are carrying. It means putting it down long enough to rest, breathe, and return with clarity. Release isn't an action. It's a permission slip you give yourself. I love that one because we do. So many of us hold on to so many emotions, so many things for so long, when we just need to let them go. When we just need to put them down. That weight just weighs you down. And it's the most amazing part about it is, we think about weight and we think about physical weight, how much something weighs. The heavier it is, the harder it is to hold. But that's like asking, will 25 pounds of feathers feel as heavy as 25 pounds of rocks? It might not. It might feel the same. But it doesn't matter the physical weight of an object, because the heaviest items are the ones that we carry with us forever. The ones that just chip away in the back of your mind, that keep replaying in your head over and over and over and over again. You put yourself in this cycle and you just keep repeating it and replaying it. And what is it doing for you? Nothing good. It keeps you trapped in that cycle. So I love that water one. So the next two I want to talk about will help set you free, so to speak. Okay. So the first one is called the raft. So a man needed to cross a river, so he built a raft. It carried him safely to the other side. And when he got to the other side, he asked the Buddha, "Should I carry the raft with me now?" The Buddha replied, "Of course not. What helped you then may not help you now." You see, not everything you once needed is meant to be carried forever, including coping skills, relationships, identities, and past versions of you that once helped you survive. You are allowed to outgrow what once served you. Now, the next one is called the empty boat. A man is rowing his boat, and another boat slams into his. Now he's furious, ready to scream, ready to blame, ready to lash out, until he realizes something. The boat is empty. There's no one inside. See, most people aren't hurting you on purpose. They're acting from their own pain, patterns, and unconsciousness. When you stop taking everything personally, You stop suffering unnecessarily. And now this goes back to triggers. So many of us can be easily triggered by the smallest things because we're trying to control every step, every moment in life. And you want to strive to that perfection. You want to have nothing, so to speak, bad happen. But when we release those expectations, when we release the need to be perfect, then clarity comes in, fulfillment comes in, and love comes in. Because you can understand that nothing is perfect, and everything that does happen, well, it truly does happen for a reason. It has taken me quite a long time to work through a lot of my own triggers in my life. And I never realized truly how many I had, how many things could set me off, and I didn't realize this until I started to go inward, until I started to meditate, until I started to really focus on what I needed to let go to become the best version of myself. And when I started to do that, every day got better. Every moment got easier. Every trigger became less. And it's been absolutely wonderful. One of the things that used to trigger me so badly was, and I know some people can relate to this, was chewing. Okay. If I could hear someone chewing, oh, that would drive me up a wall. And you're probably wondering, okay, how is this even relevant? Well, that's a great question, because throughout my entire life, I was always taught, okay, so when you're eating, you chew with your mouth shut. Chew with your mouth shut. And if you chew food with your mouth open, that's disrespectful. Or if you're chewing with your mouth shut and you still can be heard, then you're taking too big bites and it's still disrespectful. So life threw a curveball at me, right? Because whenever this would happen, I could hear someone chew, I would literally leave or go to another room, or I would just fume in that frustration. Well, my wife has I don't know what you want to call it, a loose popping noise in her jaw. And every time we would sit down to dinner, she'd chew with her mouth shut, but I could hear this popping noise so loud. I mean, it sounded like somebody beating a drum in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, why is your jaw popping so loud? And it would frustrate me. And I had to get over that. I had to get over that because I was taught that that was wrong, that I shouldn't be able to hear it. But it wasn't about her jaw popping. It was about my own insecurity, about myself being taught not to be heard when you're chewing. And once I let that go and realized that my bubble is my bubble and her bubble is her bubble, and I can't control the fact that her jaw pops, and I can't control the fact that every time she chews, I'm going to hear it, I no longer get upset by it. I no longer get frustrated by it. I know it's such a silly trigger, but I know a lot of people. I've known a lot of people that have had some chewing triggers. But yeah, it's amazing once you just start letting go. Now, the last two Buddhist parables I want to talk about will help kind of shift your perspective on things. So the first one's called the empty cup. So a Zen master pours tea into a student cup until it overflows. The student shouts, "It's full." The master replies, "Exactly. How can I teach you when your mind is already full?" Now, the lesson here is that you can't receive anything new when you're full of old beliefs, assumptions, and stories. Growth requires space and an open mind. Letting go isn't losing. It's clearing the mental clutter that keeps you stuck. And when you empty the cup, what's meant for you finally has space to pour in. The cup has to empty. That goes hand in hand with all that we've been taught since childhood, since birth. Everything we've been taught has been passed down generation from generation from generation. And it doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. What it means, though, is that you've been taught a limiting belief, a belief that is not yours. It is a belief that has been passed down from your family. So while you've learned all these beliefs and your cup is full of all of these assumptions, you need to take that cup and you need to turn it upside down. Pour out all of those beliefs, all of those assumptions. And I would take all of those assumptions and visualize spreading them all across the table. Like they were written on a piece of paper. Pick up each piece of paper and look at it and read it. And ask yourself, is this something that you truly believe is true and in alignment with your soul? You will know it. You will feel it. You should feel it in your gut. Your intuition is strong. But you can't grow unless you empty the cup. Release those old limiting beliefs. Release all the expectations. Letting go is setting yourself free to allow the clarity to come in. Now, this last parable is my absolute favorite, and this one replays in my mind over and over and over again because recently I've had a bunch of situations in life in the past week that I could hold on to, right? And I could keep in my mind for forever. But every time something keeps coming in, this parable keeps playing in the back of my mind. And it's like, no, just gotta let it go, gotta set it down. So this one is my favorite. It's called Two Monks and the Heavy Load. So two monks are traveling together and they see a woman struggling to cross a river. One monk picks her up, carries her across, and sets her down gently. The two monks continue walking. Finally, the other monk bursts out, "I can't believe you carried that woman. We are not supposed to touch women." The first monk replies, "I set her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" Boom. Mind blown. Mind blown. We often carry things long after the moment has passed. Anger, embarrassment, guilt, overthinking, and resentment. Most of our suffering comes from carrying what you could have put down a long time ago. I just love that parable. Literally, I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? He was still carrying her in his mind. He couldn't get over the fact that the first monk picked her up when they weren't supposed to touch women. Had nothing to do with the fact that she was a woman. It was the fact that he was still carrying that thought in his mind hours after the act had taken place. So can you imagine that monk walking for hours and just replaying that incident over and over and over and over in his head until he says something to the first monk about it? Now, when you do that, you remove yourself from being present in the moment. And being present is extremely important because everything is here now. Everything is right now. And you remove yourself from receiving clarity, from receiving what is meant for you when you aren't present in every moment and every day. Isn't that incredible? I just love those. Those parables have really shifted the way I look at things, the way I cope with things. And I hope that they impact you as much as they have myself. And I would love to know how you respond to the parables. And again, like I said, I know nothing about Buddhism. Nothing. And all of a sudden, these came across my social media, my TikTok. And I was like, thank you, universe. Thank you, team. Because they knew I needed to see them, I needed to hear them, and I needed to feel them. And it's nice to have clarity in such a way that gives you an example that is easily understood. Because I'm the type of person, if we're talking and you're using big words, I'm going to tell you, I need you to just dumb that down a bit because I need to understand it at a base level, at a basic level. Because if I can understand it at a base level, then I can help others understand it as well. I thank you for listening today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did recording it. The next episode that I'll be recording will be about my dragon healing sessions that I've recently had that have been absolutely wonderful, and I'm excited to share them with you. But again, I thank you so much for listening, and I love you all. And with much love and much thanks.